Hey everyone, welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. I've got some pictures here today of the British Columbia interior. We went for a hike to visit my brother and he was busy for the day, so we found some stuff to do ourselves. I've done some planning. I did pre-cut this diamond or whatever square diamond patterned paper. This is actually still available, this paper, and I've got it on Mink Cardstock. And then I've got some juniper here. I think this came from the Isabella paper packet. And I also have the cards, the Picture My Life cards. Here's a few of them. They are also still available. So you could just about recreate this page. So these two items are still available, and I will link them down below, as well as the stamp set, which you could also use. You just have to color it in a bit yourself. I actually have the full Isabella paper pack, so my embellishments were all made by cutting flowers out of the flower sheet in the paper pack. And a few, I think I got a few off. I have the workshop kit, so I got a few out of there. But I think you could totally make this layout without, because there's several you could cut out of the cards, or you could use the stamps. So I'll link all those items that you could use. The other thing that I use is some sticker letters, but die cuts would work as well. For the word sunshine, we have die cuts in a very similar size. Here I'm just cutting the center out of this Picture My Life card so I can still use the rest of the card for a mat. And I wanted that phrase there on the top right. Time spent with you is time well spent. One of my goals with this layout, because I had such a big word in the word sunshine, is I really wanted to make this layout have the title be really incorporated into the design. And you'll see later on that it really does fit right in with the flowers. Everything is slightly overlapping. I added the words and smoke, the ampersand, and then smoke underneath. And I just kind of overlap them a little bit. And even my journaling, I end up incorporating just being kind of underneath. I stamped it right on the layout. I haven't filled it all in yet because I'm still waiting for my sister-in-law to tell me what this park was called that we were hiking in so that I can write it on there. The Kraft paper that you see under the word sunshine there is, I added that in off camera. I decided that I wanted enough behind the word sunshine that it could fit right over top. And that was really handy for me because I was able to move it around until I found a place where I liked it. I find sometimes with those letters, you stick them down, you're like, oh, I'm not sure about there. So here's where I brought in the Sprigs and Sentiments stamp set. I took this little ferny looking thing in the toffee, which matches that Kraft paper color, and I stamped it on the same type of paper as the background, and then I tucked it in my background just to see if I would like it stamped right on the background, because once it's done, right? So here I'm just making sure I know exactly where I want it to go, and then so I've decided, okay, it's going to go there. I want it to tuck in behind the flower. And one thing I've noticed when I do this sort of thing is that you're better off putting it a little farther down than too high up. You don't want it to be detached. You want it to look like it's coming from underneath because it's like another layer, which is kind of neat. Another thing, another tip about doing flower clusters on a layout that you've made a frame like this, I have a framed bit of mink all the way around it, is allowing your leaves or flowers to overlap onto the frame a little bit. It just makes them look more realistic or alive. And like they're kind of popping off the page, which I really like that look. So here I'm just sticking in some die cut flowers. This is an old die cut of ours and I use it a lot. I really like it. Those types of things are just like in real flower arranging, where the baby's breath or the fern leaves are just filler to fill in the empty spaces in the arrangements. So that's what I really enjoy having things in my stash for. So here you'll see that I pop up the little flower on the bottom there, and some of the flowers are like, everything is layered. So what's neat about stamping right on the background is that it looks like another layer. So there's like the flat layer of stamping right on the background, and then there's the glued right to the background layer, and then there's the popped up layer. And then the die cut little leaves add a bit of a dimension too. So I really like how that looks. I had the strips behind the titles sort of staggered, but I decided that they looked better tucked right underneath. I liked to see them kind of coming out from under the flowers, and I put the part of the S kind of a little bit over top of one of the flowers just so that it was all touching and a little bit more attached to one another, not just random. And here's where I also decided to stamp my journaling area right onto the background. So the way that I did this was I was just going to stamp it on there, and then I just didn't quite dare. So I stamped it onto some white paper because I didn't have a big enough piece of the background paper left over. And I kind of laid it there with that flap with the title down, and just sort of shifted it around. And I found if I put it off the side a little bit, I liked it better. So that's where I ended up stamping it in the end, is just kind of sitting off the side. And I really am happy with how this turned out. I haven't written my final title on there yet, or my final journaling on there yet. Just need a name yet of the park that we were in. But once I have that, oh, I'm just really pleased with how this turned out. And I really like that it looks like part of a patterned paper in the background. But actually, I stamped it on there. So cool. I'm just doing the right hand page here, gluing down everything, trying to get it straight and looking great together. I added a little piece of the gray strip that's behind Sunshine. It's a continuation from the other side. It's at the same height, but it's also just kind of to bring in some of that strip to this side as well. And I did tuck a few little flags or tags coming out from the other two strips that I had as well. Although I didn't have enough to do full strips of those. Here I'm going to tuck in some of the flowers in the top here, and I am using a few little thicker chipboard embellishments that I had in my stash in that Kraft color. So I have a butterfly for the other side of the page. I forgot to put it on until the end, and then I have this little leaf on this side, and then I have just some Kraft paper embellishments from my stash. I actually put all my like colored embellishments, I'll have to make a video about that one time, in a kind of a photo album, I guess. Yeah, like a pocket photo album. And I just tucked in all the blue ones in one page, all the silver ones in another page. So I can just poke through there and find a few little things. The little flowers are from in there too, the Kraft colored flowers. So, and here as you can see, I stamped on the background again. I just love how that little fern just adds to my little clusters. I am so happy with how that turned out. And it's one of the reasons that it can sometimes be really good to use a lighter background, because if you want to stamp on your background, it shows up really great on a nice light background like this. I have said before I struggled to start on white, but this is okay because this has a subtle yellow diamond pattern on it, and that doesn't bother me. I just really struggled to start on straight white. But with my last video, the page I ended up doing for that one, I loved it, but I had it sitting on my piano for me to admire, and after a while I just thought, you know what, it needs something, and I put a dark blue trim all the way around it. So then I liked it, the starting on the white, much better. I was a little off camera here when I was doing the bottom corner, so I kind of missed it. So I just took most of the video of it out. You'll see it in the final project. So here is the layout. I'll give you a close-up of some of the embellishments and the way it turned out. I'm really happy with this layout. These are my favorite kind of layouts, but it's also because these are the most beautiful pictures. Who knew that smoke and sunshine could be so gorgeous? And that teal blue water, that's why I used juniper rather than the color that was in this paper pack, which was a different green, but juniper worked with it because it had some shades in the leaves, and I just wanted to bring out that tealiness of the water. I decided not to add any of the stamped fern Kraft colored leaves in the bottom corner just because I have the tendency to overdo it, and I thought less is more, and I just brought the Kraft color in with that little arrow. So that is how this layout turned out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by my channel. If you so desire, I would love it if you subscribed and hit that like button to let YouTube know that you want to see more of this content. Thanks so much. See ya.